And Schlereth, I know that you played a long time in the league and I did not. I do, however, feel like there's a significant gap between being a starting NFL quarterback and not being able to hold the ball. I feel like we're far away.
Yeah.
Regardless, Nick,
Yes.
good or bad for Dak if Cooper Rush goes out and beats the Rams?
And by the way, given the points you guys were making about the Rams, the Cowboys D-line, and the Rams offensive line issues, it is not as ridiculous as it seemed a month ago that the Cowboys could beat the Rams based on the strength of Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence alone. Stink, I think it would be disastrous for Dak, for Cooper Rush to remain undefeated. I think that it might seem like it's being a bad teammate, and it might be something he can't say out loud. But just like when, I'll use a New York example. Do you guys remember the Mike White experience for about 96 hours last year?
Sure.
Zach Wilson gets hurt. Mike White comes in and throws for 400 yards. And on the very next day, the back page of the New York Post is quarterback controversy questions. You know the best thing that happened to Zach Wilson? Was a couple weeks later, Mike White threw 4 interceptions. Everyone's like, okay, we can calm down on that. I think it would really help Dak out if Cooper Rush came out and had a 3-pick game and Aaron Donald had a great game and everyone kind of pumped the brakes a bit on, is this Kurt Warner or Tom Brady 2.0? So I think for Dak's purposes, it's probably better if the Rams win the football game.
Well, here's ultimately whether they win it, like whether the Dallas Cowboys win the game and they go into Philadelphia and they win against Philly, and it doesn't matter. That doesn't, Dak is their starting quarterback. Dak, right now, Cooper Rush is a quarter, it's a bottle of Compound W that has a quarter of the stuff left in it, right? Eventually, you can cover the wart. Okay. You can cover the wart with it, but eventually the bottle is empty.
Yeah.
And then you know what? The wart re-exposes itself, right? Yeah. Eventually the wart will be re-exposed, and Cooper Rush will have one of them 6-pick games or 3-pick games.
But that's what I'm saying. What if Dak gets healthy before it happens, and then Dak is a little rusty, and his first game back is against the Eagles, who I know you think are awesome, and Dak has a 3-pick game in his first game back, and Cooper's sitting there undefeated.
That's why you don't play him against Philly. You make him sit through Philly and go, hey, eventually this guy will be exposed.
When's Washington on the schedule again?
Here's the deal. Let me tell you how it works with backup quarterbacks and young quarterbacks, okay? Let me just tell you how it works,
like to hear
okay?
it.
So here's the first thing. We play vanilla on offense because we have to play vanilla on offense. So what does that mean? We manage our quarterback. How do we do that? Short passing game. We don't put him in harm's way. We run the ball. Week 1 with Dak playing quarterback, 18 attempts per game. So that's one game, 18 attempts. Since week 1, they've rushed the ball 28.3 times per game. Right? We're protecting our backup quarterback. What do you have to do? You've got to turn the ball over. You've got to get takeaways as a defense. We've got to go out and get takeaways. That's part of the formula. The other part of the formula is on special teams, we have to make some explosive plays. If we can do those things on a consistent basis, you know what we'll do? We'll win. Do you know how hard it is to play kind of quote-unquote perfect formulaic football on a week-to-week basis? Hey, it's great. It's just a great story, man. Cooper Rush, God bless you. This is awesome. You know what? When Dak's back, hey, man, you pat him, you patronize, you pat him on the shoulder, and you say, way to go, little fella. That was awesome. Now go back and sit down because the big boys are going to start to play.
Fair take.
All right. First of all, Nick, I'm going to give you credit for keeping it real because this is keeping it real. All right. We like to act like all the athletes are no ego, completely selfless, team first. I've been there, obviously, at a much lower level. I've been sitting on the bench hoping that the guy in front of me misses some shots so I can get in there and do my thing, right? Yeah. That's real. So I give you that. But that said, it is better for Dak if they win. Number one, his main concern has to be us staying in the playoff hunt until I get back. And now even the division hunt. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, it should be coming back fully healthy. Now they don't have to rush him. Initially, it was a 6 to 8 week injury, right? Now he may be able to sit the entire 6 to 8 weeks. That's good for him. And finally, I'll throw this out. It's not like they were a bad team with Dak. Now, if they were we thought Dak was this great quarterback, but they couldn't win, that would be one thing, and Cooper starts winning. They won 12 games last year. They had the best offense in the league as far as points per game last year. So I think all of those things work to show that Dak, it'd be better if Dak.
Here's the deal. Go back to last year. Okay, so Russell Wilson gets injured, right? It's an 8-week injury. 3 weeks after he had surgery on his finger, he's back at practice. 4 weeks in, he's playing. He didn't play well for a couple of games. No. Toward the end of the season, he played great football. I mean, really good football.
Right.
But the bottom line is Cooper Rush has created an opportunity for this team to take its time with Dak.
He's giving you a margin of error, no
right,
doubt.
To take his time with Dak, which gives them the best opportunity at the end of the year to be playoff bound and, oh, by the way, to possibly compete to win the division. So, this is, what a blessing it's been to have this guy come out and play well. That's great.
I'm going to show you an incendiary full screen.
Okay.
To the point where Josh, our researcher, brought his computer into the little office I sit in, and he said, I don't know if you want to use this. I was like, well, what is it, Josh?
Right, wow.
He's like, I made it, but I don't know. I was like, Josh, if it's true, we can put it out there. So without further ado, can we unleash Josh's incendiary full screen?
My God.
I'm saying it is a distant cousin of this narrative. Drew Bledsoe was no slouch. Drew Bledsoe was the highest paid player in the NFL. But Tom Brady was winning, and he was game managing the Patriots to win with a great defense. And we did that all the way to the Super Bowl. It's also a distant narrative cousin of how Dak took Tony Romo's job, strung together a lot of wins, and kept the job. I'm just saying it's in the atmosphere.
Which is, and you know what's also in the atmosphere?
That was good.
Adding a little fuel to this fire, and by little fuel, I mean dousing it with kerosene.
More than a little.
Is Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones doing he does that weekly interview with the guy I used to do radio with, Sean Sharif. They do a great job, and there's a good job by Sean asking the follow-up question about squeezing the football. Jerry wants the Cowboys to win a Super Bowl. He needs the Cowboys to stay America's team. He wants the Super Bowl. He needs the attention. He wants the Super Bowl. He needs the headlines. And I am telling you that if I agree with Stink 100%, that eventually water will find its level with Cooper Rush. That eventually that awful game is coming. The regression is coming. I am saying for Dak Prescott's own sanity and for Jerry Jones to douse that fire, Dak needs that to come before he's healthy. Not that, well, it would have come in 2 weeks, but Dak's now taken over. If Cooper Rush is undefeated with a spotless touchdown interception ratio when they hand the team back over to Dak,
not great.
That is
it's not great.
Because Dak's not going to be undefeated.
I know.
Dak's not going to never throw an interception. And Jerry will say something to somebody, and there'll be microphones rolling. And so I just think it's dangerous.
One issue with your graphic. You forgot to put on, underneath Tom Brady's name, the world's greatest American. I take umbrage with that. That's the only thing I don't like.
Beyonce Knowles Carter has something to say about that.
Fair enough. Josh,
Yeah.
let's get that correct.
Yes, please, correct that.
Coming up next.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.